This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
We are TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio. When you finally boil it all down, magic is imagination. We are moving into an age of manifestation. Things become actually less material, more ethereal. The golden dawn is when we awaken to this new station of life. What you think becomes real quicker. Regain our imagination, regain our inner child, and let that inner child out.
My name is Frank Castle, founding member of the music group Heistlick and New York City Neo Shaman. After a serious injury sidelined my career in 2013, I decided to set out on an adventure to search for myself with the help of the plant medicine Ayahuasca. What I discovered waiting for me was something I could have never prepared for. It was time for me to become something more, someone more. It was time I became fearless. In the darkest of nights, gonna let my light shine as my heart beats in rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die.
Oh, yeah. When you hear that, you know it's time. You know what time it is? Do you know what time it is? I'm going to tell you what time it is right now. Let me tell you, man.
I do. I do know what time it is.
It's Saturday night, and I'm your Sorcerer Supreme, Frank Castle. Frankie Fearless in the house. And I'm here with my etherical translator, Paula Milo.
Hey, everyone.
I hope everybody out there is awesome. Before we start the show, I'd like to give a big shout out to Chris and Cherie Gio. Without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. We wouldn't be doing this like this. And we love you so much for it. So we're your protection from your deception. And Paula would like you all to go sign up right now.
Get a subscription. Just do it.
Just do it. Get the app. Download the app. Listen to all the past shows. All the great hosts. Best lineup in radio. Saturday nights, hands down. Shout outs to my man Ra. Shout outs to Chris and Cherie, Brent Thomas, Jimmy Jean. We got a big night ahead of us.
Yes, we do.
We got a special guest with us tonight.
Yes, we do.
I'm going to have to give an early disclaimer on tonight's show because I was talking with Ron right before the show. And I'm like, oh, this is disclaimer worthy. Our guest tonight, Ron Freeman, part of the Fearless family, Fearless tribe. IamWeAreFearless.com is now open and running, doing excellent as well. Got a lot of great
artists.
The artists are amazing. The feedback we've been getting is incredible. People all around the world are coming together to make the Fearless. I don't want to call it a brand. It's like a community.
Movement.
It's like a
movement.
Movements are rough because they could be infiltrated. But part of the family.
Definitely.
Right? And Ron is one of the original, he is an original member. And I want to chronicle each and every one of our members of the Fearless family to show you that it's not just Frank's stories out there talking and Paula just going, yeah, man, etherical translating it. Because that's not really what it's all about. All right, Ron is a visionary artist who's inspired working with psychedelic plant medicines, Mother Earth, and the Mother Earth energy. He works with the spirits of Ayahuasca, Salvia, 5-MeO, DMT, Ganja, Mugwort, and Native Tobacco. Ron, thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's wonderful to be on.
The family has been finding each other, coming together. And I'm glad we found each other.
Yeah, it's really awesome that, the energy, nothing prevents the energy from flowing. Time, space, we're miles apart from each other. And yet when we connect, it's like connecting with old family members.
It's, I've never really had better feelings. It's like reuniting with true family.
Yes, it is.
When you go to the party and you see that one person, you're like, yeah, man, it's so good to see you. I'm glad you are here. that's what I feel when I'm with you guys. And that's the connection I was feeling earlier with you too. And after our conversation, I want to get right into it. How long have you been working with plant medicines?
So I've been working since 2015, and every month since then, nonstop, sometimes twice, 3 times, pretty much whenever, I could feel that there's an opportunity to have the medicine. I'm not going to say that it's easy, and sometimes it's not even pleasant, but I feel that it is an opportunity because I believe that this is sacred plant medicine, and we don't get that opportunity too many times in our lives. And I'm very grateful that I have been put into situations where the plant medicine has revealed itself to me so much. And it's kind of like I've been through this, this accelerated, path on the, shamanic training. It's more traditional shamanic training. I actually travel to go, faraway land, with, strangers sometimes, but always at the end of the ceremony, those strangers, they're just lost family. It's like they connect and you have this new connection with these people. I swear there's been times where I've gone to ceremonies and I'm like, I recognize you. I know you from somewhere. And dude's like, I'm from Germany. I'm like, wow, okay.
That's how this works, right? We're all born into different positions on the chessboard. And somehow the call goes out and we start to find one another.
Yeah.
Yes. And that call is strong. It's stronger than our language. It's stronger than, it's a whole nother level than, social media or any kind of media that we know of. It's an inner calling, and you just know. It's like when you need to drink, when you can't really get it out of your head. Like, it's just the idea just sounds so fascinating. That's how it was for me. When I first heard the call, I looked up so many YouTube videos on it. I looked up, all sorts of experiences people had in, many different places with ayahuasca. And I just knew that's like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take a plunge. At the time I thought, you only live once. Boy, was I wrong about that one. And, and I was like, I'm just going to do it. And so I went and I did it. And I was like, I had the knowledge that, this is a psychedelic, and I was like, well, I'm just going to go and I'm going to try my first psychedelic. Why not? And she showed me, this is not a psychedelic. This is not a drug. This is medicine. This is why it's medicine, because your life is going to change. And from that point on, my life has definitely changed. I'm not even the same person. I literally, I run into old so-called friends, and it was like, you were friends with that guy, but I mean, you're not really my friend. You don't really know me. You knew that guy, not me. And that's what the medicine will do.
I have to, Ron, I have to agree with you 100%, because when I had met Frank, I never did a psychedelic. I never did anything. I honestly, I drank. I was a glass of wine kind of girl. That's it. And for me, I didn't want to judge either and be like, and then I was like, okay, you're going to do the psychedelic. You're going to do it. You're just going to do it. I got the courage to do it. And then Aya showed me this is a medicine, and this is the fast track to finding out who you are. And once I experienced it, I realized this is the only way that I'm going to fix me, that I'm going to realize who I'm supposed to be. And your old life really does drop away. It falls away. It makes it very difficult to keep connections with people that you were friends with before, because so much is revealed about all of your lives. And, that information changes you forever.
one thing you have in common, both of you have in common, is that you really didn't try psychedelics.
No,
and then
never.
you drank ayahuasca. Is that true?
Yeah, that's correct. Ayahuasca was my first psychedelic.
Oh yeah, me too. Same thing. And it has forever. I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago.
All right. I felt when I first met you, Paula, that was lucky for you. It was me.
Oh, I
being
wouldn't have,
there.
I would not have done it.
Knowing what I had just went through. And then, Ron, when you said this earlier, I was like, whoa. Now I want to talk about how you did that, like how you manned up to do that, like who was around you, who gave you the hints, were you with other shaman, because I just went for it, but I had done psychedelics, so I kind of thought I knew what I was in for, and it was nothing like any of the other times I've ever done anything ever, like never, and it's never been the same thing twice. If it has, I didn't learn something, and I had to kind of fix it and do it again. So that is truly fearless, guys.
Right.
I just want to say that. Congratulations on that, because
For
taking
sure.
that step is the biggest step you could make in your life. Now, if you could, all right, they don't teach you much in school, right? They teach you a lot of stuff. They don't really teach anything for the outside world. If you would have gone through school and then senior year of high school, you had to go on a retreat right before you graduate and do, 10 sessions of ayahuasca.
Right.
If you would have had that, imagine what this world would be like.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, our rainforest probably wouldn't be depleting as much as it is. If more people had the knowledge of ayahuasca. I mean, that's definitely one thing that I find that she speaks to everybody is, how precious our nature is, how precious are the trees and the plants. And I mean, ayahuasca itself is a sacred vine that grows in, a very special place. It doesn't grow everywhere, if everybody had ayahuasca, it definitely would be a different world, much more pleasant world, in my opinion.
So how did you make that jump? Who was around you? Or did you shed all that off and just transform?
Funny. I actually just got into meditation, and because I knew, I was like, well, Peru's, it's like, gosh, that's a long ways away, and I don't really know any shaman that are reputable, and it's like, yeah, I could look at YouTube videos, but really, am I going to take that plunge? And then but I was like, but you know what, meditation is good, and I'm kind of, I don't feel like I'm going anywhere at home alone, so I'm going to find a meditation group. So I found a meditation group, and it was crystal bowl healing, and it was just very pleasant to me. At the time, I was like, this is really nice, music to my ears, very calming, very, very pleasant, and then I saw this, like a shadow of I guess what I could picture as my third eye. I mean, at the time, I didn't know what that was, but it was like a round ball in front of me, behind my eyelids. I was like, what is that? And then there was this light flashing behind it, like back and forth, like if you were to take a flashlight, put a ball in front of it, and then move the flashlight back and forth from it. I was like, oh, is that my third eye? I don't know, but anyway, that was cool. And I told the lady who was hosting the meditation, and she's like, oh yeah, I've had similar experiences when I go to India. And she was telling me about India, and then she's like, but my husband, he just goes down south and does ayahuasca. And it's like everything she said after that, it was like, want, like after, like when Charlie Brown, when you hear the, the parents in Charlie Brown. And I was like, wait a minute, back up. You just mentioned ayahuasca. I want to do ayahuasca. And she's like, oh, that's lovely. I will totally get you in contact with my husband. 3 months later, I was down south taking ayahuasca. And, it was in a community that these people, pretty much live ayahuasca. I mean, they have it weekly. And is very traditional, it's not, here, we're going to take this, we're gonna listen to some calm music and we're just gonna trip out. No, nothing like that. They're banging drums, they're shaking rattles. There was a time in my first ayahuasca trip where I thought the shaman was literally messing with me because he kept shaking this rattle, and when it shook the rattle, I felt the vibration go up my spine, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's messing with me. Now I understand that he was actually trying to help me to move the energy and to create this purge, which eventually did happen. So the rattles eventually did help. So so in traditional shamanism, you get a lot of drumming, a lot of rattling. Also, animal aspects. It's really just part of shamanism is to take the plunge and to release our judgments of ourselves. Release, and that's what you see with those who have been on the path of shamanism, is they don't care what you think. They don't care what you see, because they know who they are, and they are going to act the way they know who they are. And so you'll see animal aspects come out of people. You'll see, I've seen shaman, their bird animal aspects will come out. I've had panther animal aspects come out. I've seen bear animal aspects come out. I guess I should back up a little bit. So first, when you get into the community, everybody goes through this sweat lodge, Temazcal, and it's a dark room. It's more like a hut, a very dark hut, and they bring in these grandfather stones that have been soaking in fire for a good couple hours. And they're really hot. They're like magma, and they put them in the center of this hut, and you're sweating for 4 rounds, and all that sweat comes out, and you're actually purging. You're purging through your sweat glands.
Sure,
and
like
you'll
a
be
detox.
surprised. Yeah, total detox. And you'll be surprised how much you can sweat. You're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I could sweat this much. I didn't know I drank this much water. It's like, wow, but you come out feeling just wonderful. And then the next morning, of course, you don't have anything to eat. And the week before, you had to do this dieta, which is no milk, no meat, no sugar, I mentioned dairy, but those are 2 big ones. Oh, and absolutely under no circumstances alcohol or pharmaceuticals. And you just go and clean, and even other plant medicines too, like marijuana. But there's different beliefs on that one. I would say your first time probably not, but those who have been with it for a while, they understand that the plant medicines work together. I call them the 3 sisters: marijuana, salvia, and ayahuasca. For me, anyway, those are the 3 sisters I work with. And then Sapito will come in there a couple times too, and that's a whole nother. That's an accelerated. That's like ayahuasca's brother, because he'll just take you.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, Sapito is 5-MeO-DMT. It comes from the Colorado River toad, which goes down through Mexico. And what the shamans will do is they'll collect these toads, and they'll the sweat glands from these toads give off DMT. And it's not harmful to the toad at all. The collection of this is not harmful to the toad at all. It's just imagine someone taking a paper towel and wiping under your armpits. They're just collecting your sweat. And the toads, they're released and they go right back off to where they were. And, they weren't even taken away from their habitat. So this sweat from this toad is then crystallized and then vaporized. And the participant can smoke that vapor, just like, regular DMT. The experience is a little different. Of course, everybody's experience is all different. Some people have no visuals. Some people have nothing but visuals. My experience personally, my first time, I felt this huge amount of energy just flowing through my body and shaking. And it was like like I had another heart, if that makes any sense. And it was vibrating, but I knew it wasn't my heart. It was a different vibration. And I realized that, maybe this is the chakra system, and I could actually feel it pulsing and vibrating. And I'm like, wow, I've never felt that before. And, after the initial thoughts of, oh my gosh, am I dying? Those thoughts happen every now and then. You just gotta put them to the side. You just gotta say, go in the corner. And after I told those initial thoughts to go in the corner, my hands opened up, and it was like the palms of my hands became outlets for this energy. And I was shown that I can heal. So kind of like what I would see somebody performing Reiki, kind of like that. But I wasn't taught by anybody to do this Reiki healing. I was taught by a Sapito. And so that was my first experience. I've had other experience where I just inhaled and held it, and I don't remember exhaling. And I just remember that I saw my life in front of me, and there was like this swipe, like a paintbrush, like a painter who painted this masterpiece and then like decided that something was wrong and he wanted to start over, and he just swiped it with a paintbrush full of paint thinner.
Wow.
And that was pretty traumatic. And then after that, it was a void. It was complete void. And I was like, there's nothing to fear here, but there's nothing to love either. It's just complete nothingness.
Wow. That must be very difficult.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't difficult when you're in it. It's difficult getting there, and it's difficult coming back and realizing where were you. Because when I was in that void, slowly I could hear the music, and I just kind of followed the music, and then, my eyes opened up and I could see the healer, looking over me, saying like, oh, hey, you're back. Oh, great. It's time to eat. And I was like, oh gosh, how long was I gone for? I swear, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to take hours. She's like, you're gone for like 20 minutes, maybe. I was like, wow. So yeah, Sapito is out of this world.
I got to tell you, there's a lot of similarities. We're sitting here laughing, going, all right, when I went under and my hand split open, and first there were eyes, and the eyes were scanning everything. Right. And then I was like, oh, man, I could like see through layers through my hands. And then they're like, yeah, but look what you have to do. And Paula, Demon Removal Service, what do you want? I see her doing that, but I'm asking her, like, what are you doing? And she's like, well, I'm just moving the energy. But when I watched her while I was under, she was doing what you're talking about. Like, she was swirling energy, and then she had the ability to heal. Right. So then my hand, when I was under, after they showed me that, I was like, I want to do that. They're like, all right, do what she does now that you see what she's doing. And then my hand turned like violet flame, and they said to me, you have the healing hand. Like, and I was like, I could have healing touch. And they're like, all of you can. Yep. You can heal each other yourselves. And I'm like, oh, teach me how to do that. So I've gone under these similar processes as you.
Wow.
Which is excellent, because then we can relate to the audience even more and show them that we're talking about this for the first time, you and I. Right. So this is just coming out on air. And I want to show you the similarities, because when people are like, well, what about me? And I'm like, okay, don't rush. This is baby steps towards the real you. If we just stripped everything away, you'd go insane.
Yeah.
Right. When you see it from the other side, it's insane at first.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely layers, like what Shrek would say, like an onion.
Yes. And it's not easy to do. right? Like you have to work yourself up to do it most of the time. I don't know how you are specifically, but you go through the process of talking each other up. Like, yo, it's going to be, this is when we're doing it. And then there's no backing out.
Oh yeah, definitely. In fact, that's one of the reasons why I work with Salvia is because Salvia to me acts like a lower version of Sapito. It's like, oh, this is why you smoke Sapito. Remember? Oh, that's right. And it's like, and that's with all the work, like, ayahuasca, marijuana, salvia, DMT, even mugwort is like, I need to remember. And it's like, we're the plants and we're here to help you to remember. And it's like, yes, that's exactly it.
That's exactly how I feel. We need to remember, because remembering those pieces and being able to put them together helps you navigate through this life a lot easier.
All right, just think about your awareness level going up, right? So your awareness involves your interaction with the environment and moving through the space that you're located in. And the path, the fearless journey would take you down that to make that happen. So you become interactive with your environment to a level you've never been a part of, but it allows you now to move through the environment with a lot less obstacles. Obstacles turn into something else. Obstacles don't become obstacles. It must be magic. All right. When we come back, we're going to start asking Ron some questions. We're going to get deeper into it because I want to hear about some of the interactions with being. Well, it's always great to look over to my right and see you sitting there. Where you're protected from the savage.
You're listening to the Truth Frequency Radio Network.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
Am I awake or is this a dream? It's a dream. A fantasy where I'd rather be. So come and talk with me. Come and walk with me. Is this a wake-up call from my reality? Have you seen my friends? Have you seen my girl? Wake me up from this. I'm trapped in this world.
That's right. We are back. It's Saturday night. I'm Frank. You like the music you're hearing right now? That's Frank Castle's Come Alive. Shout outs to everybody in the chat room, by the way.
Yes,
love
shout outs
so
to everyone
much.
in the chat room. Lone Star, we love you.
And I'm so excited to talk about FearLess.com. The grand opening was this week. It's been Fearless is just like if I had to throw an idea on the page, right? It's just like, let me throw down, we are fearless, right? And then we are fearless. And then, okay, well, we get it, Frank, you're fearless. And it's like, no, it's not about me. Never been about me. I'm just telling the story, right? It's about all of us. What do I say? When you're with me, or if you people that know me, any of the family that have physically entered the house know, it's all family. And fearlessness is a state of returning back to you. And it's a hard little twisting journey. And we're all coming together and we're paving a way into the future so we can all be a part of something fantastic, right? So then I draw a line and go, well, fearless is Sergio, fearless is Frank, right? And then Sergio teaches Frank Bitcoin stuff. Frank then talks about it over here. And it's working. Wait, who's this? Oh, look, it's Josh. It's Nick. Oh, look, it's Gina. It's Gina, right? Oh, look, it's Christy. It's Zed. And then it goes on. And then I'm like, Sergio goes, man, where's all the artists? And I said, watch what you ask for, buddy.
Yeah, because you're going to
said, you're like, at the time we knew one person, Ron, we knew one person, right? And I'm like, just ask out loud. And he's like, well, I've asked. Rah, rah, rah. I think it was 2 days later, everyone was together. He's like, I'm building the Slack team. I go, what happened? And he goes, oh, I think I asked too hard. Right? And we all heard. Everyone heard. And then you start mapping out the page and you realize it's the family returning. It's the family tree that you're drawing on the page. It's like it's actually your connection to your family. And I'm so happy that we're back. Now, Ron, have you, like, my brother was like a half artist. Like, he just kind of did art and he was really good at it and then just stopped and then kind of goes back to it. Have you always done art?
Well, I've always been interested in it, but no, I don't have any, formal training or anything in that level. Pretty much, I just draw what the plants show me. To be honest, I know it sounds weird, but when I go and walk through the forest, for example, I don't see a tree. I see more than a tree. Like, I'll see the expression of that tree. I'll see what that tree is. If that tree has a personality, what it is saying to me. And sometimes, there'll even be faces, there's, faces in nature. I've talked to other people and they say, well, that's a spirit. You're actually looking at the spirit of the tree is what you're seeing, And that's great. And I think that one thing that we need to understand is the stereotypes of spirits. Like, media has stereotyped spirits. They're not these floating, ghouly, ghostly-like presence. Well, at least the ones that reveal themselves to me have not been some ghostly-like presence. It's been literally a tree, and this tree has a face, and it's not talking to me in words. It's talking to me through feeling, through energy. And, not all of them are good either. I've had some trees teach me some hard lessons. But
is that what it's about, though? The hard lesson is what helps. Is it molding you or making you more you again? Or either
it's
way,
definitely making me more me. For example, I didn't have any confidence in my art whatsoever. And then I smoked some ganja, and she would say, hey, I'd get this urge, this feeling to just, maybe I should pull up that art piece I did. Maybe I should, take a look at that picture I took of that, tree, and then, I'll feel guided to paint on that picture, or to paint more of that art piece that I had, and it'll pretty much just show me like, oh, there's a line there. Oh, I see some shadow there. I see this here. I can see how those two pictures can blend together. And I'm like, that's higher me. That ain't me. That's other realm I'm getting information from. So that's where my art is inspired from, is definitely the medicine. Definitely.
Yeah, I've noticed when I did medicine, it unlocked me, and then what it showed me was how it unlocks people, and the people that would be around me, and it's watching that is one of the coolest things in the world. I remember saying to Nick, your creative side's going to blow through the wall after you go under a few times, and he was like, yeah, I hope so. Now you've seen his work on the website. And it's like all of us, it's doing it to all of us, but it's also making us come together. It's drawing us all in and showing the world now. It's like we're walking out and letting the rest of the community know, look, we're all here.
Right.
Don't even worry about it. We're all here doing it.
Right. And that's what's important is to find the family, I forget Tim Leary, he used to say, find the others, and he was talking about, other practitioners of LSD at the time. I say, find the others, like find the brothers, find the sisters, find those who are energetically on your level, and open up. See where this meditation group can lead you. I had no idea this meditation group would lead me to ayahuasca, sacred plant medicine, and so we definitely need to find the family, and that stresses the importance of that these medicines are not to be taken alone. I've seen some people have some serious freakouts, and I was grateful that there were shaman and healers there present to prevent these people from mostly hurting themselves. And definitely, hurting others too. But, these medicines, I just really want to stress that to listeners, they're not to be taken alone. And even if you have a sitter, you need to be with a sitter that can take you down. When people feel this energy, for some reason, we have it in our mind that we're dying. And that's I guess people call it ego. And it's what it is when you feel very uncomfortable, you think you're dying. For some reason, and some people are willing to physically fight for their lives. And so if you're with a sitter that you can easily take out, you got to think ahead of time. Maybe I shouldn't, sit with this, 100-pound, woman. Maybe I should, go and sit with, some other brothers, that, at least two of them that can hold me down. Because, the worst thing you could do is try to operate a vehicle. We've had, times where people just feel like, oh, I've had enough. I'm going to walk down this trail. And, we physically have to stop them, So imagine if you were at home and you tempted this medicine alone and you're like, I don't feel good. I got to do something. I got to drive to the hospital. How dangerous that. Well,
I've had people start screaming, I got to go find my mother. I got to see my mother. My mother loves me. My mother needs me. And I told you earlier, I was in one of those loops once for like 15 minutes. It was weird. And then I watch people go through like, I'm not good to my mother. I need to get to my mother. And they get up. Like I had Jay, who's no longer with us. He was gigantic and he got up. It all hit him at once. It wasn't working. And he just stood up. And he kicked the foot.
It's a wooden chest.
It's a wooden chest, and it's filled with blankets, so it's very heavy. And with one leg, he kicked it across the room at me, and then got up and he ran through the door of the bedroom. Like he just took everything down, to furniture, everything. And he was close to 400 pounds. And I was like, whoa, I can't do anything. I had to watch him just go down and then kind of sit with him and be like, all right, buddy, I'm going to just sit with you now. And then he's like, you told me it was one thing. This is not that. He goes, it's so beautiful. And I'm like, well, at least you're having a good time. But I have no physical way to get you anywhere or to help you off the floor. Your foot is as big as my chest. I can't do. I was holding his leg, and his leg weighed. It was my weight. And I'm like, my dude. And he goes, yeah, I put on some weight. And I'm like, why don't you just stay on the floor? Right? Like I was never, nobody teaches you that, but I'll tell you what, I've seen Aya and other beings step in when that happens. I've seen them make people collapse. All of a sudden you get the ability.
Yeah, prevent them from going anywhere.
Or you'll know it's about to happen, right? Like, do you go, would you be under with others when weird things happen? Because I just get up immediately. Oh, yeah. And it's like they're with me, helping me energetically with the person instantly.
Yeah, there was this one time, this big guy. He was like a, football player size. I mean, he was a pretty big dude, and he was letting anger get the best of him, and I just believed that I can hold him down with energy, and I did. I didn't touch him. The energy coming out of me touched him. And it was the energy coming up from the earth and into him. And it was healing him, and it was holding him down at the same time. And if you would have told me that 5 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, no, I don't believe you. But
that's
what happened.
All right, and don't mistake this, because I watched a few videos about this where guys think they can stop an MMA fighter's punch with their energy, and they just get punched in the face. This is not that.
No, not that at all.
Right? There's this war that goes on inside of us, And when you can see the bigger picture from the other side and look at it, like this is what I would see when I see Paula running her hands around. Like she's just like, oh, I'm just, moving the energy. I'm like, you're doing so much more than that. You don't even understand. Things are running from you. They're like, oh no, it's her. And I'm going, what do you mean? And then boom, she always has the halo that runs shoulder to shoulder, not around like a halo, like the cartoon character. Okay. No, after I saw that, every time I see her under it, like cracks open. And I always say you remind me of the Abundance Girl, where remember the girl? I'm 43, so it was the maize girl from Maize Corn Butter or something back in the day, or canola or something, and the girl was holding the corn, and like the sun was behind her on the label, and she was presenting like abundance to you on the label, right?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Right. And the sun's always behind her, right? So it's like rising sun, but that's really not what they mean. When you look from the other side, it's really the enlightened ones are bringing abundance for real. Like the metaphors could work on all the levels, but it's those people really. It's like the story of Christ holding the basket of infinite fish that just keep coming out, like he's feeding people. He just pours out the bucket and it just keeps coming out.
Right.
Right. He could just feed everyone with the bucket because it's abundance. And how do they present the Christ head with the halo? But the halos changed over the years. They made it like the devil horns or the little halo floating. But the enlightened ones, it's like a circle behind you. It's almost like you hear the crack and the back of the head opens on the person and just the light comes out a few feet around them. And you're like, oh, they're working on a different level altogether. Those people bring healing and abundance. Which that all falls under the same category, abundance and heal. You just put healing in there. Abundance is everything.
Well, for example, I worked with Santo Daime, which is ayahuasca, which has a kind of like a Catholic undertone to it. First of all, if you're not forced into any belief system, so if one goes to a Santo Daime church, they're not forcing their belief onto you. I've been told Shiva's welcome, Goddess Isis is welcome, Ganesh is welcome, Jesus is welcome, Buddha's welcome. Everybody's welcome here. We're all just gonna hang out. But I feel like it is a safe place for those who have been shackled by their Christian belief system, and that they can't get it, that they can't release it, that the Santo Daime is there to help them to release it. It's like, okay, you're stuck on this Jesus. How about you drink this and Jesus will tell you himself, do not worship me. How about that? Then will you stop worshiping him, or Mother Mary, for example.
Like that. Yeah.
And that's what I love about the Church of Santo Daime, is that it they're open to those who are stuck on this Christian belief. And what made me think about that is when you brought up the halo behind the person and how artists would paint these holy people, for lack of a better word, these saints and, Mary, Jesus, and they would have this halo. I think that's what people see when they go under Santo Daime and they, the ayahuasca, and they see this goddess with this halo behind him or her, and they're thinking, oh, that must be Mother Mary, and I'm comfortable with you. Teach me, and it's like ayahuasca will go ahead and take on that image if that's what you will listen to.
That's what it takes.
On many images. I
had her do that. As growing up Catholic, she came as Goddess Isis came as Mary, like the typical statue that everybody has. I'm in the Bronx. There's a lot of Italians. They all have it on their front lawn, right? When you paint that, it almost looks like a giant. I hate saying it like this, but it looks like a vagina, like an opening of a portal under the cape. Like you could go in a million directions, but she showed up like that. And I said, what are you doing? Oh, no. And I was trying to act proper because I'm like, oh, it's the Virgin Mary. And she's like, you need to get over that immediately. And she just stood with me until I looked her in the face. And then she like danced around me. And I'm like, wait, you don't dance. You're Virgin Mary. And she's like, yo, stop it. Stop it with this weird belief system. Look at you. You're acting like you're not one of us. Right?
Wow.
Anyone that lifts you. This is how I learned through discernment. If they're lifting you, if they're trying to help you, and that use your discernment. That's the right thing, right? Selfless acts of self, not being selfish, to help you rise for no better reason than to watch you rise.
Right.
Right. Anything less than that, stay away from it. You don't need it. Because but the hard stuff will hit you hard, but that's still helping. Like, you have to know your dark side to do this because you got walked right through it. They walk you through the darkest side of yourself, so you fix that. You understand that it's there. You don't forget about it and go all light. You choose to do what you want to do, and you morally align yourself with what you need to, but you still understand it.
Right. Well, it's not the, dark and evil. Those are two different things. Like when you're purging and you see all this blackness come out and, all that's coming out, like that's the La Purga. That's the evil. That's the anger. That's the fear, the hatred, belief systems. That's what's coming out. Goo. Yeah. In the physical form, black goo, parasites. That's why it's so important. People look up parasites. We have been eating parasites for years. Our stomachs are filled with parasites. We just don't know this. They control us. Literally, they can connect to the nervous system and they can control your thoughts, your moods. That's why you have cravings. You take the medicine, it'll show you this. It'll release those parasites out of you. It's a cleanser. It not only cleanses you physically, it cleanses you spiritually, but it's also great for the gallbladder. It cleans out the intestinal tracts, all that. It cleans out both directions. She goes down to the basement, cleans all that out, goes up to goes upstairs, cleans the attic, all your thoughts. Yeah, she cleans up. It's like grandma coming to your house for Christmas, and then she realizes how much of a mess you made the house, and now she's got to clean it all up, and you're going to help.
I've done that.
And so, when we're purging, like there's times where people will purge and they're like, oh my gosh, I see spiders, or oh my gosh, I see, amoebas, or, all sorts of stuff. I mean, I've seen black ants, I've seen black spiders, I've seen black goo, I've seen metal. I'm like, metal? What? I never ate metal, who knows, all I know is that it was shiny.
I've seen nanobots.
What you get out. Yeah, nanobot. Yeah, exactly.
That was the big one for me. The black goo was one thing. I was like, oh, good, get that out. I've seen that in movies, and I kind of get it. And then I saw metallic objects floating inside my aura, but it was in me as well. They were like building little antennae around like my nerves and stuff. Like all my tics went away. I had all these weird nervous, you don't even know you have them. Like you'll be just pacing a lot and doing stupid things. You don't even realize it. After doing this, it all came out. One by one, they showed me what was coming out. And I'm like, oh, I was like you said, there's metal. They were like, oh, yeah, there's a lot of metal. Look, and all different kinds. It's not even just that you have these nano things in you. You have all this stuff in you. And I was shocked. And I said, well, get it all out. I want it all out. They're like, well, you keep putting it in. That's the problem. It's in everything.
Right. And another importance of drinking with other people is that everybody's energy is in this ceremony. It's not just the medicine. It's not just the drink that you're drinking. It's the whole ceremony is part of the medicine. The ceremony is the medicine. And I can't stress that enough, that people purging around you is helping you to purge. If someone's purging next to you and the way that they're purging is freaking you out, like, it sounds like they're releasing a demon, that's a fear that you have inside of you. That's a fear, that I, used to have. And so when someone's purging nearby or whatever, and it's freaking me out, now I know that is good. That's a message. That's showing me something. Everybody's energy inside that circle is there for a reason, and never be too shy to purge. Don't try to hold it back because you feel like, oh man, when I vomit, I'm so loud. I am extremely loud when I vomit. Everybody knows when I vomit, and I realize that spirit has meant for that, because when I purge, it helps others purge. And I needed to accept that, because I used to have a insecurity about being the first one to purge and being loud and disturbing other people's journeys. No, nobody's journey gets disturbed, because all that energy is there for a reason.
Oh, dude, I got over that pretty quick, right? And then I'll just do that in a room full of people during.
But that's a good way to look at it.
And and when I'm not under and they're going through it, I smile, because I know what they're going through, and I know how much of a good thing it is.
Yes.
As a shaman for others, I purge for them the day before they get there. The gathering kind of starts around me in the space, and I'm saging constantly and then purging. And then they show up and I'm clean, and then it's their turn.
Wow.
So it's always intense. And it's awesome. I try to stress that. I know Paul is looking at me like it's not awesome. It sucks. He's like, it tastes disgusting. Dude, she poured some out, and I only gave her like half a cup, and they're small cups. And she drank a little bit and then poured the rest out. And she was like, oh, I'll just tell Frank later. She had the greatest, biggest experience out of everyone. The craziest things that went on from just the tiniest amount, right? Mm-hmm. Which shows you what's in control of the medication, that you would think, well, I got to take a whole cup. If I only just take a sip, nothing will happen. Well, that little bit will knock you on your back for thinking that, just this little bit is all I need so I can control you.
Oh, I agree 100%. One time I had this, like it was, here you could have a 2-in-1 shot. I'm like, oh yeah, I really want to go deep, have this 2-in-1 shot. And I just purged. I purged a lot, but it wasn't the amazing outer body experience journey that I had, that I wanted by taking that much. And then another time, I just had like this tiniest bit, because I was also helping out, and she surprised me. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm helping. And she's like, no, you're gonna go, you're gonna journey. And so I told one of the other helpers, I was like, I had a little bit of medicine, but she's calling me, I'm just gonna lay down, and he's like, yeah, totally, we got your back, everything's calm. And so totally agree. I mean, just like a quarter of a cup, I mean, the tiniest amount. So the amount really doesn't matter, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, she know, because they know what they're doing. I've gone in to try to shaman someone and be like, well, I'm under to help, and they're like, they're fine, we got it. Like, we've been doing this for a long time. Now it's your turn. Thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Yes, thank you.
Ron Freeman, we are FearLess.com. Thanks for coming out, my brother. Love you so much.
My pleasure. Love to be on the show.
And everybody, stay tuned. Beyond the Veil's up next with Chris and Cherie Gio. Your protection from deception.